TV, you just can't get away from everybody talking about this NAFTA superhighway. Yeah, nobody's talking about it. It's a giant roadway that will run across the United States connecting Canada and Mexico. Why is no one talking about it? Because no one will admit to it. It's only crazy people like me that have even mentioned it, dare mention it on the air. I've told you before and I'll tell you again. When it comes to the government, it's all about misdirection. They grab your attention. Hey, everybody, look over here. And that's when they're doing the real work in the shadows over here when no one's looking. But, sorry to break it to Washington, I see you. We see that you're catering to big business and their pursuit of the almighty buck, and you're forgetting about we the people. The NAFTA superhighway will hurt our national security. It'll open new avenues for illegal immigration. It's like giving Mexican drug cartels their own FedEx service. Doesn't sound like a good idea. We got enough border problems already. We don't need to open up an express lane, making things worse. One man who's doing what he can to stop this is somebody I have disagreed with in the past. His name is Congressman Virgil Goode. He's a Republican from Virginia. Congressman, how are you, sir?
Fine, Glenn. How are you?
Okay. A lot of people, because they say it to me all the time, Glenn, there's no such thing as the NAFTA superhighway. Oh, yeah, and I bet we didn't land on the moon.
Oh, you are exactly right. I heard what you were saying a few minutes ago. If the NAFTA superhighway becomes a reality, and they're already working in Texas on the Trans-Texas Corridor, which is a massive multi-lane highway that will run from Mexico right on across the Rio Grande into Texas and then on up to Oklahoma and into Kansas City. If that becomes a reality, it will be a highway, as you pointed out, for smuggled goods, for illegal aliens, and potentially nuclear, radiological, or biological weapons.
Okay, here's the whole idea. What they want to do is they can bring products in from, let's say, China a lot less expensively into Mexico ports. They bring them into these Mexican ports. They bring them right across our border into this gigantic highway system. It's my understanding that we already have the first bid out, and the bid to build the Texas Trans-Corridor Highway didn't even go to an American company.
It's my understanding the same thing. A foreign company has the bid for the Trans-Texas Corridor, at least part of it, to start out with. And as you pointed out, China will ship goods to the west coast of Mexico, avoid the fees that would be incurred if you landed in the coast on California. Come on across Mexico, they'll never unload the trucks. The trucks will stay loaded with the containers that they get from China, and they will bring the containers to Kansas City or to where their point of delivery is. And that's very unsafe. We need the system that we have now where you unload the cargo when it crosses the Rio Grande and put it on a U.S. truck with a U.S. driver.
This is truck traffic at the border crossing in Laredo, Texas. More than $3 billion worth of imports pass through this crossing alone every month, all headed north. Since the implementation of the North American Free Trade Agreement, the flow of imports from Mexico to the United States has exploded by more than 400% at just the Laredo crossing, as American manufacturers have rushed to take advantage of Mexico's cheap labor.
Ford Motor Company has made a decision to invest $9 billion in Mexico. And what this highway provides is a way for them to bring goods into the United States to be sold here with none of the jobs being located here.
The highway she's referring to is actually several different projects collectively known as the NAFTA Superhighway. The routes are a combination of existing roads, planned expansion of others, new roads, and rail lines. The project's funded with a mix of private, state, and federal funds. The trade route begins at Mexico's ports on the west coast and runs all the way up to Kansas City, to facilities being developed there known as the KC Smartport. The project's aimed to expedite trade flow. The combination of reduced inspections at the borders, insurging Chinese goods coming through Mexican ports are raising concerns about security.
The Bush administration is not serious about border security. They are not serious about port security. When we talk about a super port controlled by Mexico, this is Dubai all over again. We stopped Dubai, but this is another way to take it out of the purview of Congress.
And while proponents tout the benefit of capitalizing on the trade flow, critics see a darker reality.
This country is the world's import sponge. That's our main role in the world economy nowadays. And this NAFTA superhighway will make that sponge a great deal more porous.
And it reduces economic growth to a reliance on infrastructure development driven by our need for imports.